Sarah LaFone. I'm a social work major, senior. Yeah.
Okay, so when did you get introduced to drag, and explain your associations and involvement with it?
Introduced to performing, like drag performers, or just drag culture in general?
Well, both, yeah.
Okay, so I think it was around 7th grade when I was introduced to the movie Hedwig and the Angry Inch, which is it's like a rock opera about a trans woman who immigrates from Germany. It's a really interesting story, but that was the first time I'd ever thought it was super cool because the main character is a total badass who, is just very independent. It's a really cool story, and so I was always really fascinated by that, and it was a great storytelling movie. And then I went on to, like Rocky Horror Picture Show, learned about RuPaul's Drag Race. In terms of performing, I went to Warren Wilson College before this college. We had a drag show there, and I always wanted to be in it, but it never worked out. And so when I got here and found out they also have drag shows, I was super into performing because I felt like I'd always wanted to do it, and if I didn't do it now, it might be, might never have another chance to do it. So I met Jordan Powell, who worked with me here, and he was in the process of getting into drag himself. He was learning he was on the drag queen circuit and looking at not only drag here on campus, but drag in the larger North Carolina community. And I just learned a lot about how it worked from him, and I decided to do the amateur drag show, and I think my first drag show was, I guess, fall of 2020, I don't know.
So you've done multiple ones?
Yeah, I did, I was Justin Bieber. I did Justin Bieber in my first drag show, and then I've always, I have like a character, but I think my character is mostly celebrity impressions. I don't think I feel comfortable portraying males as a whole, so I kind of pick already existing males to portray. So I've done Justin Bieber, I did Macklemore, I've done Justin Timberlake, and then I did Justin Timberlake again in the last drag show as in NSYNC, like a member of NSYNC.
Okay.
So so I kind of go with already existing celebrities as identities, and then kind of put my own spin on it. But so that's kind of how I got introduced. Is that first drag show that I was in. It was really super fun. I was terribly nervous.
So have you participated in the drag shows with the intention to just purely for like entertainment and to entertain other people, or like also to like make a social statement?
Yeah, you know what? I think I've always been really kind of, let me figure out how to say this. I've always been in disagreement with like gender norms. So I feel like most of my life I've questioned them. I've never been like a typical girly girl, so I feel like it was always something that I wanted to try. I've always been like pretty comfortable with like being a girl, and like I prefer female pronouns. I am a female, and that's how I identify. But I think I've always been interested in the things that women are not supposed to do, like things women are told not to do. And so I think it's always been, I don't know if it's a statement that I'm making. I want everyone to know that they can do it and it can be a lot of fun, It's definitely a character for me. Like, it's not, I don't know. People are very different in the way that they perceive their drag careers. Tell me if I'm being scattered. But I feel like some people have they feel like it's another identity, like of their personality. For me, I don't think it's it's not another like part of my personality. It's more like a character that I play just in the shows, and I think that's different because like Matt Ramsey, you talked to earlier, he literally has like a separate Facebook page for Shalita, and will like post as Shalita and as Matt Ramsey, has those two different personality, like characters. I won't say personalities, but like for me, it's just like I perform in the show, and the name is just like an outlet to use to have like this character. But I don't feel like the rest of the time it's like it's like another part of me, you know? So I would say in terms of like, I think it is sort of a social statement. Like I think it's kind of like a, you should be able to do whatever you want, like kind of express yourself however you want. And if I decide that twice a semester, 3 times a semester, I want to dress up like a dude and like woo women, I feel like I should be able to do that, you know? But I don't know, I think it's very freeing. So the entertainment part of it is so much fun. Like it's a great rush, the entertainment part of it. But I also think it's like liberating in a certain way, you know, just to get to do that.
Yeah. So have you ever faced any sort of discrimination because you've done drag, or on the other hand, have you ever faced any like massive support?
Coming into doing drag, up until this point in my life, I've identified as a straight female. I am a straight female. So I expected that I might face discrimination just because I was entering into a mainly an arena that was not dominated by straight culture, and I could see how they might be like, this is our thing, you know, like, I don't know. So it kind of felt like there might have been someone who would have told me, this isn't a place for a straight girl, you know? That has never happened to me. So it's like, everyone's just really open and has, you know, they're all, I mean, sexuality is not gender, obviously, like gender expression.
Yeah.
And I do express more masculinely than a lot of women do. So I think that was the reason they were cool with it. I just, I don't know, I think they're just cool with it in general. But I think that you know, their knowledge of sexuality and gender being 2 different concepts allowed me to do whatever I wanted without facing any kind of discrimination. In terms of support, people get really excited at drag shows. It's wild. Like, it's really interesting to me. There were like, the first time I was Justin Bieber, I think there were like girls handing me money, and they looked like they were gonna cry, and they thought that I was actually Justin Bieber. Like, that's how it felt. They literally looked like they were starstruck, and it was bizarre, you know? I mean, that was more than I'd asked for. I kind of expected people to be like, oh, she's pretending to be Justin Bieber, you know, like, cool, that's good, I'm glad she's having a good time, you know, like, but they are really responsive, and I think it's like, they feel that liberation that I'm feeling, you know, in like doing that. So, yeah, I've had people ask for my pictures afterwards, like they get pictures with me, and they've, I don't know, they've contacted me for different things. They asked me to host, which was like really supportive. I think like knowing that I did well enough in the show for me to host the last show was really cool. So it's been really empowering to, like, as a performer, to feel like people want to see you perform, because really I just feel like I'm just dancing around and lip syncing a song. Like, it's something I would do normally, except I'm dressed like a guy and people love it, you know?
Okay, how do you perceive that other people see you when you dress in drag? Like,
yeah, everyone in the community that knows about drag culture and is like well versed in it is totally awesome and supportive about it. I think they get it, and they like understand that it's a really fun, awesome thing to do, and I don't know, it's like a parody. It's a parody of like male culture, you know. I think especially, I don't know, women have always responded positively. They always think it's like funny or like fun, or they, you know, they're open to it. I think men who don't understand it have been more, I'll get weirder looks. When I'm like on my way to and from events, like drag events, if I get weird looks, they're from men. Generally, being like, why is that girl dressed like a dude? Is that a girl? You know, it's such a weird thing, because our society just loves to put people in boxes. It's like what they want to do. So when they can't tell what I am, it like makes them stare and wonder, which is a weird concept, you know, like, should it really matter? You know, like, I don't know, it's just interesting, like, what business is it of theirs, like, how I express or how I identify. But it's definitely mostly men. If I get weird looks when I'm wearing, like, when I'm all done in makeup and have my hair and my clothes done and stuff, like, it's, so, yeah, that's the only strange response I've ever received.
okay, and one more question. Is there something about drag that you wish people were more informed about?
There's just this is something I wish I was more informed about as well, but what I do know about is really impressive is that there's a really strong sense of social change in the drag movement. If you do your research, which I need to do more of also, you'll find out that like in the like Haight-Ashbury district in San Francisco, like when there were all the revolts in the bars having to do with like people kicking people out of their bars for being gay or like being a part of an alternative community. I don't know, there were people who, I don't know, drag queens were kind of like the symbols of revolution and change, and I think when the riots were started, sometimes the drag queens were the first ones to like start the riots, you know? And so I think it's just like a powerful, like, because people put their faith in them, they become, I think you have to be, for one, I think you have to be a really strong person to be confident enough to do drag. And I say that more about queens and kings. I don't know, I think queens work a lot harder than me personally. Whenever I'm around them, I'm like, wow, they're putting in so much more work. But I think queens are just like powerful. They're like symbols of beauty, and I just think like you have to be a really confident, strong person to be a drag queen. But they were just symbols of change and progress and power, and I think it's really cool. Like the community had them to look up to. So when you look at like the Stonewall riots, stuff like that, you think of like what big steps they've taken for the LGBTQ community, all the other letters community, and how cool that is, you know, that drag is not only like a fun, empowering art, but it has like a history.
Cool.